Hi, my name is Gail Minogue and I'm happy to see you back again. And what I'm going to be talking to you today is about navigating adolescence. And what does that have to do with numbers? A lot. And one of the reasons why I'm bringing this up, and I thought it would be worth your hearing, is that we see a lot of headlines about young people who are either getting into drugs or perhaps having shoot up at a school. Just a lot of general problems around the certain ages of, say, 14 on. And I wanted to tell you a couple of reasons why these are times when it requires the parents to be extremely sensitive and not reactive. This is extremely important. The soul on its journey, and I've mentioned this to you before in other YouTube videos that I've made, goes through a cycle every 7th birthday. And it takes 4 of these cycles to get out of childhood, so that we can finally get out of childhood at 30. A lot of people think they're out of childhood when they graduate from high school or they graduate from college. No, they're still in it. It's just a different journey part of it, and I'll explain that. So the first 7 years, or age 7, you land here and you get used to this family of origin. You adjust to being here, all the things that are required of you as a little soul. And then from 7 to 8, you transition in your first soul cycle. Now this will take you out to the world where you join brownies, Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, little baseball teams, etc., groups. You try yourself on with people that are outside of your family of origin. So this is where you grow through that. So first you get the body here. Now you're making up and developing your own mind. So this goes from, say, 8 until 14. So you're now been pretty much with friends and you have your family, you have your body and mind here. Now you have to work on the emotional aspect. And that introduces the 3rd cycle, which begins, the 7th soul cycle, begins at 14. This is the critical age. This is why you see a lot of headlines and issues. All of a sudden, they kind of explode. It's like this child was so nice, so quiet, so sweet, and now they're this, who is this person? Well, the soul is now developing and learning how to handle emotion, learning how to manage emotions. So the transition into this phase is from the age of 14 to 15. So for the parents, they need to realize the sensitivity that is going on behind all this. So from, say, 14 to 21, it's all about emotional issues. How do I handle myself? So there's a lot of overreaction, underreaction, a lot of behavior that seems completely oblivious to the parents, or is puzzling, confusing. Where did their kid go? But the scheme of things, this is a very important period, and it requires the parents to be aware that this high sensitivity is going on. Each one of these time periods in adolescence is activated by a gland. And so we have a lot of glandular activity going on at the same time. So it's very, very important, and I can't say this enough, to understand the sensitivity behind these years, particularly age 14 to 21. You want to help them through that. You don't want to react and have explosive arguments and all that kind of stuff. You want to understand the sensitivity that's going on, get help if needed, because this period is 7 years long. And the other thing you should realize too, that as they manage these emotions, that overall, even though we have in our culture here, our Western culture here in America, we have a feeling that the girl, or the adolescent girl, is more sensitive. They are sensitive, but boys actually are more sensitive than girls. But we are not allowed in our society to be, let's say, male-oriented outwardly, there to appear strong. So it's unfortunate that we do not recognize the real sensitivity of boys. So I encourage the parents to really realize this and get rid of any kind of macho baloney about the young male. So we have the mind from the body from age 0 to 7, the mind from 7 to 14, from 14 to 21. Now we're dealing with emotions. So you will see things act out. If these emotions have been stuffed, they will act out. And of course, this is sometimes extremely detrimental. You see school shootings, you see really extreme behavior. This is where drug use can come in, and it's all about handling the emotions and sometimes what we'll say self-medicating through this period. Because our society and America is not, it's like take 2 pills and get better, and everybody's busy and doesn't have the time to really process what is happening. And it's extremely important that you do, because the soul is on this journey. It has to learn how to handle emotions as well as how to handle the body and how to handle its mind. So you can help the child by doing this, by really aware that this is a sensitive period. We want to know as much as we can. We want to be good examples and not a lot of judgment and no reactive stuff. It just doesn't work. We've seen the outcome of all that. And for heaven's sakes, to allow the person to be heard. Remember, we have very old souls disguised in very young bodies. So from this period to when we go through that soul cycle year of 14 to 15 is the transition. So there's a lot of issues. And then it goes out to 21. So from 21 to 22 starts the periods of integration. So a lot of this emotional stuff has reached this point, but the soul is not integrated enough here yet to begin its adult life. So it takes another soul cycle or the 4th soul cycle to integrate all that it has been going on with the body, the mind, and the emotions. So this kind of information is very, very important for not only the person to understand himself, to be patient with himself, to really understand what is happening to him, that no 2 souls are alike here. Everybody's has a different plan or a different blueprint. People blossom early and then fade and then blossom late. Some people are just flat out late bloomers and they're not going to get going before they're 50. So we want to be very, shall we say, patient, okay? Patient with our children, patient with our friends of this age. This is a actual very important passage is to get out of childhood. So a lot of people feel they must know, particularly in their 20s, they must know what they're going to do with their life. And that is so dumb because, maybe a few will. They've been born into family with surgeons and they're going to be a surgeon too. Or born into the military and they want to go in there too. But most part, you don't really know what you're going to be doing until you're well out of childhood and not until you're 30. So for those who are of that generation now, you need to be patient with yourself as you try on different things, as you're integrating the body, mind, emotions. So from say 22 to 30, when you get out of childhood, that you literally will be kinder to yourself, okay? That you will understand this is part of the learning process to get ourselves where we can start our adult life at 30. So be patient, and every generation is born under a different heavenly setup. So the generation of, say, right now, we're seeing this very young generation, and you see the very old generation, the baby boomers, finally getting off the stage. They're moving over here and exiting, and this younger generation, which is in many ways more advanced than the older generation that's leaving because they've committed a different time. They've committed a different level. They're coming really smack in the Aquarian age, really right in it. And so they're going to bring more of the Aquarian type of thinking, which I can talk about on another YouTube because that's very interesting, the enlightenment, the rationality, and more concerned with the people and the masses than the government and the corporation. That's a very different topic for another day. But so I wanted you all to just get it, that from 0 to 30, there's still childhood going on. There's still management of emotions, integrating the body, mind, and emotions, learning how and see what careers you would like to do. Because by the time you get to, say, 30, you're kind of ready to launch into something, and we'll try that out. So your first soul cycle in your adult life starts at 35. So remember, you're not fully together yet. Nobody is. This goes for all of us. It happens to all of us. But in earlier times, people were told they're going to be a dentist, or you're going to be, this is what you're going to do, and that's what you do. And you stay with a job for years. Not in the Aquarian age. You can go from job to job. See what works better. And also, it's more of a sharing. You're going to see this much more of a sharing going forward into this age. So 0, 30, childhood complete. First soul cycle in adult life is 35 to 36. you're starting now to try on parts of yourself. Maybe look at, what do I do? Want to do buy a home? So, what do I want to do? Where do I want to live? What city do I like? What lifestyle do I want? So by the 30s, you can really get aware of the lifestyle you want. So you kind of get an idea where you take you up to 35, where you're now in the full swing of your adult life. But you want to be very kind to yourself. And remember, you're on your own journey, nobody else's. You have a complete plan in your name, and nobody has that. And then nobody has it combined with your date of birth. So again, thank you for listening. I love talking about numerology and all the aspects of these cycles and all the times, and we'll continue on. Thanks so much. See you in my next YouTube. Thank you. I'm Gail Minogue, and I'm so glad you tuned in to my YouTube channel. If you're not a subscriber, I would love it if you subscribe, and then you can get anything new I'm putting out, and I hope to keep putting out more and more. The other thing, too, is if you need a private session with me, I do those, and it would be very, very helpful. You can keep it for the rest of your life. It's the gift that keeps on giving, and you can go to my website, gailminogue.com, and that should be showing on the screen for you. You can also reach me. I have an 800 number even, 800-600-0256. So you can go to my website, check it out. I try to post every week, but I definitely would love to see you on YouTube. And I thank you so much for tuning in.